Grandpa's Last Lantern. It was a quiet night in the village. The streets lay empty, and silence hung in the air like a heavy blanket. Most houses had long gone dark, their lamps extinguished and their families fast asleep. But at the very end of the lane, one house still glowed faintly. A single lantern flickered by the window, casting a warm golden light onto the old wooden walls. Inside that house sat an old man named Grandpa Ibrahim. His body was weak, his face lined with the wrinkles of age, but his eyes still carried the sparkle of countless memories. Around him, his grandchildren had gathered. They sat cross-legged on the carpet, their curious eyes fixed on him. They knew that whenever Grandpa called them at night, it meant he was about to share a story, one that would stay with them for life. Grandpa cleared his throat, smiled gently, and said in a soft voice, "My dear children, tonight I will tell you my last story, the story of a lantern, the lantern of childhood." Grandpa leaned back and began, his eyes distant as though traveling back through time. "When I was as young as you," he said, "we did not have electricity nor the comforts you know today. We lived in a small hut, and our only source of light was a single lantern. Every evening my mother would light it, and that little flame would fill our home with warmth and hope. But one night, a storm arrived. The winds howled fiercely, the rain battered the roof, and suddenly, the lantern went out. The house was swallowed by darkness. I was terrified. I ran to my mother and asked her, 'What will we do without the light?' My mother held me close, smiled, and whispered words I would never forget. 'My son, the lantern outside us may go out, but the real lantern is inside you. As long as your heart carries kindness, courage, and faith, no darkness can ever defeat you.' From that night on, I carried her words like a shield." The struggles of youth. Grandpa paused for a moment, his voice trembling as the memory washed over him. Then he continued. "As I grew older, life tested me. I was poor, painfully poor. I worked in the fields barefoot, the rough soil cutting my feet, my hands blistered from holding the plow. Many nights, I went to bed hungry, my stomach aching. But whenever despair tried to swallow me, I remembered my mother's words. 'The real lantern is inside you.' So I worked harder. I shared my little bread with those who had none. I studied under the dim streetlights when I couldn't afford books or candles. Slowly, very slowly, my inner lantern guided me through the darkness. But life was not always kind. I lost my father in a flood when I was still a boy. A few years later, my little sister fell ill, and we had no medicine to save her. Grief pressed down on me like a mountain. My flame nearly died. Yet I remembered. Darkness only wins if we stop guarding our flame. So I made a choice. I would live for them. I would carry their light within me. The Lantern of Love. Grandpa's eyes softened as a faint smile touched his lips. Then came the day I met your grandmother. Ah, children, she was the brightest lantern of my life. She saw me when I had nothing, and yet she gave me everything. She taught me that love is not about what you possess, it is about what you give. Together we built a life. We raised children in poverty, but we gave them education, values, and love. Many days we went hungry ourselves, but we never let our children sleep without food. That is the true power of a lantern. It shines not only for itself, but for everyone around it. But one day, my brightest lantern was taken from me. Your grandmother returned to her creator. When she left, I thought my light would end too. The nights grew unbearably long, and the silence of the house crushed me. I would sit by the lantern on the table, staring at its flame, wondering why I should keep living. But then I realized she had passed her flame into me and through me into all of you. So as long as you remember her, as long as you carry her love, her lantern will never go out. The wisdom of the lantern. Grandpa leaned forward now, his voice growing stronger with each word. My dear ones, always remember this. Life will blow at your flame. Storms will try to put out your lantern. People may laugh at your struggles. Poverty may weigh you down. Grief may break your heart. But if you guard your inner lantern, your faith, your kindness, your courage, no darkness in this world can win. Be a lantern for others too. When you see someone lost, guide them. When you see someone broken, warm them. When you see someone hopeless, remind them of their inner light. The world does not need more wealth or power or fame. It needs more lanterns, more people who share their light in a dark world. The final flame. The children sat silently, holding every word like treasure. The lantern on the table flickered gently, as if listening to the old man's story. Grandpa Ibrahim looked at each of them with love in his eyes. His voice softened, almost to a whisper. My time is near, my children. Soon I will give this lantern to you. It has been with me all my life, through storms and celebrations, through tears and laughter. But remember, it is not this lantern that matters. It is the one burning inside you. Protect it, share it, keep it alive. He took a deep breath, and his gaze lingered on the glowing flame. When I leave, I do not want you to cry. Instead, light this lantern every evening and tell my stories. That way, I will never truly leave you. The room fell silent. The fire in the hearth grew dim. Only the lantern glowed, casting shadows of the children and their grandfather onto the walls. That night, the children went to bed with tears in their eyes but warmth in their hearts. They knew they had been given something greater than gold. Grandpa's last story, his last lesson. Years later, time passed. Seasons changed. The children grew older. And eventually, Grandpa Ibrahim left the world peacefully, with the lantern by his side. But his story did not die. Every evening, the children lit that same lantern. Its flame became a symbol of hope, a reminder of the wisdom he had left behind. Neighbors, friends, even strangers would visit their home, and by the glow of that lantern, they too would hear the story of Grandpa Ibrahim. And in this way, the flame never went out. Because a man truly dies not when his body is buried, but when his story is forgotten. And Grandpa Ibrahim's story was eternal.